Hello, my name is Craig. So this video is called Content Plus, and it is an example of making a big onion. If you don't know what an onion is, go back to my other video called The Content Onion. This is an example of making a big content onion and looking at it from a different perspective. I'm recording this as a podcast, I'm recording this as a video, as you can see right there, and I'm going to snip this down to short snippets too, so you can see the other ways that you can make multiple pieces of content out of one video. Right now, what you're listening and seeing, this isn't going to be on the podcast. This is just the intro to the video, but the rest of it from now on, when the music begins, is going to be on the video that you're going to see. So let me see if we can get this right the first time. Yeah, let's give this a go. See if it works. Let's go for the podcast. How can you make more content than anybody else that you know without feeling overwhelmed and going, to be honest, a little bit mental trying to make it all? Instead of making content, let's talk about making content plus. I've called this episode Content Plus. It's an idea that I've been working on for a little bit after I went a bit mental trying to make so much content. My name is Craig Burgess, this is Get Doing Things, and this is episode 150. So I used to make a lot of content, and I still do, but I do it in a much more sensible way now. This is the way that I used to make content. I used to write about 10 tweets a day, sometimes 15. I used to make a video a day, a YouTube video, make it, record it like this one, then go edit it, then publish it. I used to make a blog post a couple of times a week, probably 2 or 3 times a week or something like that. I was making an Instagram graphic every single day, and I was recording a podcast once a week or twice a week. And on top of that too, I've recently started doing That's the Job, which is an hour-long YouTube video that needs to be edited, produced, and fiddled about with every single week. So that's a lot of content. That's a lot of stuff to try and work out where it all fits in, and trying to continue to do it every week is obviously a huge challenge. It's quite a problem. It's quite difficult to do it all. It became, for me, impossible to keep up with that level of content, bearing in mind that I've also got a day job. I also run Genius Division. I design stuff there, and I run the company, and I try to work probably about 8 hours a day, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday on that too. So to keep up with that kind of level of production was really difficult. It was overwhelming, to say the least, and very, very challenging to continue it. I only managed to stick to it for probably a couple of weeks, maybe a month, maybe a little bit longer than that. And obviously it was really difficult and really challenging. So I set about trying to think of a way to improve this. And a lot of my YouTube videos recently have been about this idea of the content onion, about making something once and then figuring out a way to get the maximum usage out of it by splitting off peels of the big content onion that you've been recording and doing something else with it. And this video kind of takes that concept, this podcast takes that concept to another level as well, and it's why I've called it Content Plus. This video and this podcast is going to be a perfect example of making Content Plus. I'm recording this on YouTube right now. It's going to go out on YouTube. I'm making it as a podcast too, and you're going to be able to see how I'm going to split it down into other things. So let's talk about what a Content Plus methodology is. If you're anything like me, you're making content in individual little silos. So you make one piece of content, then you move on to another topic, you make another piece of content, then you move on to another topic and you make another piece of content, and you can see where this is going. And you make another piece of content, and every single piece of content is this kind of unique piece of thing that you don't really rinse for all its individual value. So you make a piece of content and then you move on to the next day and you make another one and another one and another one and another one, and you're concentrating on ticking off making a piece of content. Every single tweet that you write is completely original. Every new Instagram post you make is completely original. Every single thing you are doing, you're sitting down with a blank piece of paper and starting again every single time. And that's really difficult to do. Really difficult. Really hard. You can't do it over a long term, and it just gets on top of you. It gets overwhelming to look at your content in that way and to continue to do it. So as I mentioned, I made a video called The Content Onion, which looks at your content in kind of a different way. The Content Onion is you have a content onion, and a content onion is a big piece of content, a long video, a 30-minute video, a 30-minute podcast, anything like that. And you look at that piece of content and you think, right, I'm going to split off peels of that content, and I'm going to deliver certain peels of that content to different audiences across different social networks and different places. So you might make a blog post out of your podcast, you might make a podcast out of your video, you might make short audio clips out of the full podcast, you might make short clips out of your full video, that kind of thing. And this idea of a content plus thing is similar to that, but not quite the same. The concept behind this is you have one piece of content. You've made a piece of content. Let's say in this instance, you've recorded a video just like this one, because as I said, I'm going to apply the content plus principle to this podcast when I'm done. So you make a piece of content like this. This piece of content will be, when it's done, probably 10 to 15 minutes long. You go away and make that piece of content. So I'm recording this as a podcast and I'm recording it as a video. So I'm making a video essentially. I then go away and take that video and turn it into probably at least another 20 pieces of content. So it gives me roughly probably a week's worth of content. If I wanted to really rinse it of all its value, maybe even longer than that, because I can retweet pieces of content that I've tweeted. I can make a new email out of a tweet thread that I've written. I can make a blog post out of a tweet thread. I can make a tweet thread out of a blog post, etc., etc. There's lots of ways to look at this thing. So I've got this one piece of video that I'm making right now, which is 15 minutes long. I take that one piece of video and I upload that full length video to YouTube. After that, I take that 15-minute video and then I upload and strip the audio out and I upload it to Spotify, Apple Podcast and Google Podcasts, which I'll be doing with this. And you might right now be listening to this as a podcast. So that's the second level up of my content. Now we're thinking about content plus instead of just content. So then we take the video again and we make 5 shorter clips that are short video clips, and we upload them to YouTube too. We find kind of the key 5 points in this video, and I'm going to do this as well with this video, and I'm going to show you that it works. We find the 5 key clips out of this video, and we upload those to YouTube too. After that, we take those 5 clips, and we upload all 5 to Twitter. If you're a LinkedIn user, we also upload those 5 clips to LinkedIn. So now we've got 15 pieces of content. If you include each individual podcast network, we've got about 18 pieces of content. If you include the YouTube video, we've got 19 pieces of content. So from all those pieces of content we make, we take the original video again and we transcribe it. We turn it into written form. We upload that blog post that's transcribed to our blog. So now we've got a full-length blog in text form. We've got this entire podcast in text form that we can use somewhere else again. From that long blog post that we've made, we find the key points in the long blog post, and then we turn each key point into a Twitter thread. So a Twitter thread might be 5 or 6 tweets all put together. We make 5 of those. So we've got 5 more pieces of content for Twitter. We take those 5 tweet threads and then we upload those to LinkedIn. If we're using Facebook, we could use Facebook too, and that gives us 10 more pieces of content. So at this point, we've got about 30 to 35 pieces of content from one 15-minute video. those 5 tweet threads that we've made, we turn them into 5 separate emails that we can send out to our clients or on our email list or whatever. From those 5 tweet threads or from those 5 emails, we make 5 images. We make 5 images for Instagram. Those 5 images we make on Instagram could then also be uploaded to Twitter, making 5 more pieces of content for Twitter. Those 5 pieces of content on Twitter could be uploaded to LinkedIn if we're using LinkedIn. They could be uploaded to Facebook. And then that's it. We've made the full pieces of content. So by my count there, we've got maybe 50 or 60 pieces of content, all from one 15-minute video that we recorded at the very beginning. Everything that I said there, the idea there, that is content plus. And the reason we should look at doing our content like that is the rule of 7. The rule of 7 in marketing is the notion that an average of 7 interactions with your brand will need to take place before a purchase will take place. So before anybody buys anything from you, before anybody pays attention, they need to see your message at least 7 times. On social media, I'd bet it's at least 28 times. If you consider that maybe one of your tweets might be getting the attention of one person who are following you on Twitter, you might only be getting 0.01% of their attention every single day. So if you're putting out one tweet, and in that one tweet links to your YouTube video, you have got no chance whatsoever that they're going to see it. So the rule of 7 here is really important because that's why we're making content plus. So just to backtrack again, roughly what we're going to make from that one 15-minute video is about one 15 to 30-minute video, upload that to YouTube. From that 15-minute video, we make a podcast, which gets uploaded to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. From that podcast, we get a text transcript, which gets turned into a blog post. From that blog post, we can get probably 5 1-minute videos, maybe from the original video, with subtitles, so you've got 5 videos. From those shortened videos, we can make 5 Twitter threads. And from those Twitter threads, we can make 5 newsletters. From those newsletters, we can make 5 LinkedIn posts. And from a combination of those Twitter threads and those newsletters, we can make 5 to 10 key quotes, snackable content that could be visualized and put on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. That, my friends, is content plus. Don't see your content as just one individual thing. Don't make one piece of content. Start looking at your content wider. Start to think of content plus instead of just one piece of content. Keep this concept in mind when you're first making your content, and making a content plus thing will be much easier, way, way quicker. I hope you found that useful. This Content Plus idea is part of a series of videos and tutorials and things that I'm putting on my YouTube. I've got a playlist on there called Content Fundamentals, so you'll heard me talking about things like the Content Onion and other stuff like that. If you go over to my YouTube, you'll find them all on there. And that's all I've got to say today, really, about content. This has been the Get Doing Things podcast. I've been Craig Burgess, and this was episode 150. I'll be back again soon with another podcast just like this one, and I hope you'll join me then. Until then, thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.